It's on to Atlanta. Sherman's march here was quicker than the Buckhead traffic, but we're at Turner Field, the D-backs' final go-round in this ballpark before the Braves open their new home next year. Not exactly Georgia Peach weather tonight. Clear but very windy and cool in Atlanta. It's D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Turner Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The first of three here this weekend, the Braves and the Diamondbacks. A good pitching matchup here, Bob. Certainly interesting for D-backs fans. New ace Zach Greinke against former prospect Aaron Blair.
Yeah, for Zach Greinke, he's had a couple of starts this year where he gave up the long ball. Shouldn't be a factor here tonight. The wind's blowing straight in. As you can see, it's a little chilly here in Atlanta tonight, so a great night for Zach to pitch.
So Greinke gets it in the teal, and now we've got Aaron Blair, who will make his third major league start and obviously his first against the Diamondbacks. First pitch from Atlanta is next on Fox Sports Arizona.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Papa Murphy's. Love at 425 degrees. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona, brought to you by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. By Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros today. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's. And by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? Clear, cool, and windy here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson along the way. Jacket weather here. For the Braves and the Diamondbacks, and your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for Atlanta, rookie right-hander Aaron Blair, first-round pick by the D-backs out of Marshall 3 years ago, and dealt to the Braves as part of the Shelby Miller deal last December. 0-1 in his first 2 big league starts. He has pitched well.
Pitched really well last time out against that Chicago Cubs juggernaut offense. 6 innings, gave up 2 hits and 1 run in that game. He will occasionally lose the strike zone and walk some batters.
Gene Segura leads it off for the Diamondbacks, and we are underway. Strike 1, says Corey Blazer, our plate umpire tonight. Segura back in there at .345 and 4 homers, leading the major leagues in hits once again.
I don't know if I'm buying 67 degrees at game time.
The wind is coming straight, as you mentioned in the open, Bob, straight in from left field. So it's going to take something to get it out of this ballpark here tonight, especially if you're hitting it to left or left center. It's a very strong wind here. You don't usually get these conditions in this ballpark in this city.
I don't recall it ever being like this, with the wind blowing in, cool temperatures.
It's like coming off the lake at Wrigley Field here. This is a bouncer to Ibar at shortstop. That's Eric Ibar, the former Angel. He's got it going away. The lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks, who have not won a series here in Atlanta since 2007.
A little different look tonight. Gene Segura at the top once again, playing second base. Jake Lamb back in the lineup at third. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. David Peralta out in right field. Wellington Castillo doing the catching with Brandon Drury in left. Chris Owings in center. Zach Greinke batting 8th and pitching. And Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, batting 9th.
Trying to get this mojo changed on this road trip. Chip Hale's ball club comes in with a 6-game losing streak. Jake Lamb. And the shift is on for the Braves. There's ball 1. 279 and 3 home runs for Jake. Chip Hale told us today, obviously the Diamondbacks know what Aaron Blair likes to throw. They know how his stuff moves. Longtime D-backs prospect. What they have told the hitters tonight is wait him out. He's a sinker bowler. So he likes to keep the ball down. So wait for pitches that leak up in the zone. Be aggressive when he's up and lay off when he's down. That was the message to the Diamondback hitters today.
And as I mentioned a moment ago, he will occasionally lose the zone. He'll walk some guys, pitch himself into some trouble. But with that sinking fastball in the low 90s, he also has a curve and a changeup. He has the weapons to get out of jams.
That one was elevated, but Jake Lamb takes it for ball 2. Aaron Blair's a big dude out there, 6'4", 250. He'll turn 24 years old later this month. He does have, Bob, some deception, it seems, in that delivery. Makes it a little harder for hitters to pick up the baseball.
He does some things out there on the mound that you probably wouldn't teach a young pitcher to do, but it's worked for him. He really gets his head going back and forth on that rubber as he steps off to the first base side. That one jerked foul into the Braves dugout.
Got a little twist when he lifts his leg, too, it seems.
So many guys are so focused on staying over the rubber and staying very balanced. But you watch Blair as he takes that step back with the left foot. His head moves all the way to the first base side of the rubber, then all the way back to the middle of the rubber. That little hip turn you were talking about.
Good at bat there by Jake Lamb, who works a 1-out walk. Our eye on defense for Atlanta is brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Across the outfield will be Garcia in left, Smith in center, Markakis over in right field, Reed Brignac at third base, Eric Ibar at short, Kelly Johnson at second base, Freddie Freeman over at first. That guy, A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate, and right-hander Aaron Blair on the mound.
Here's Goldie. This is a Miami Marlins-like crowd in the ballpark today. The wind will keep that in the ballpark. Alex Smith calling for it, the rookie. Well, you get it up about as high as Goldie hit that one, and that wind will blow it straight back. It is really gusting out there.
There were a few balls in batting practice that got out of here to left and left center, but they were line drive varieties, kind of stayed down underneath the wind, and they barely snuck out of here. Anything hit high in the air is going to get knocked down to left field.
That is blowing in from left and left center field right there. That's on top of the center field scoreboard. 2 down, Lamb at first. Here's David Peralta. David had 2 hits in the Miami series, including his 3rd home run of the year. Carves that one the other way and drops it in front of Adonis Garcia. A walk and a single in the Diamondback first will bring up Wellington Castillo.
Nice approach by David. We've seen more of that this season than ever before for David Peralta. Of course, a lot of that has to do with the shifts that teams are playing against him. Clean line drive, 1 hopper into left field there for a 2-out base hit.
Well, we just were on this topic last night. It seems we'll pick right back up where we left off. The need for big 2-out hits with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it's been sorely lacking, especially over the last week or 10 days for the Diamondbacks offensively. But today's a new day.
Beef Wellington, 291 and 7 home runs. Lamb at second, Peralta at first, 2 outs. Here we go.
Ooh. That one came to eat right there. Thank goodness it was below us.
We have a very low position here in our broadcast booth. One of the good things about this ballpark. He has more home runs than the entire Braves team. Wellington Castillo. It has been a thin offensive season for the Braves, who come into tonight with a record of 7 wins and 20 losses. The 0-1 to Beef Wellington. Castillo homered at Miami this week. He had 3 hits in that Marlins series.
Not only are the Braves 7 and 20, they're 1 and 12 here at their home ballpark. The Diamondbacks have had troubles at Chase Field, but not to that extent.
It's all going according to plan. They are selling off the pieces that they can. They're taking on guys' contracts they don't want in exchange for prospects, and they are loading up their minor league system. And Aaron Blair is a case in point. They began 0-9, the Braves. They lost 18 in April. That's a franchise record. 18 losses last month. 2-1 pitch.
Good change up there from Aaron Blair.
He's always had a plus changeup. The curveball's a work in progress as well. Fastball generally low 90s. But he's a big dude, so he's got that natural downward plane working in his favor. This is driven out to Malik Smith in center field, and he's got it. Diamondbacks strand 2. Zach Greinke coming up from Turner Field in Atlanta. Atlanta set for the home half of the first inning. The Braves and the Diamondbacks, and your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the D-backs is Zach Greinke, a 2-2 record in 6 starts. The ERA right at 5.5. No pitcher in baseball has given up more hits.
Been better last time out against the Colorado Rockies team, and their offense went 7 innings, gave up 8 hits, only 2 runs in that ball game. gave up 3 home runs in his first start this year against the Rockies, 2 against the Cardinals, and a win when he gave up 11 hits and 7 runs. But in his other 4 starts, no homers allowed. Don't think it'll be an issue here tonight.
Not with that wind blowing in. You're going to really have to get into one. Nick Markakis, who does not have a home run this year, will lead it off for Freddie Gonzalez and his Braves. Markakis left the team Wednesday morning, had to attend to a family matter in Baltimore, where his wife and 3 sons have maintained their family residence, and he's back in time for the start of this series, and he takes ball 1. Longtime Baltimore Oriole Nick Markakis, he's in there at 281. He did not go, says Carlos Torres down there at third. Greinke behind 2-0. You can hear, as I mentioned a moment ago, this is a Miami Marlins-like crowd here tonight. In the last season in this ballpark, everyone is waiting for the future in Atlanta. And with the thin crowd, you can hear Zach Greinke clearly grunting on every pitch, like a tennis match. Lost his footing there.
That's always a factor for a starting pitcher, that hole in front of the rubber, depending on where your opposite number likes to dig that hole for his delivery. Sometimes it interferes with your delivery.
There's the strike, 3-1.
And of course, the landing hole is a big issue as well.
Well, I mean, Zach is not a big guy. Aaron Blair is a very big guy, so that might impact the footprints on the mound over the course of the ball game. Carved down the left field line, foul. It's a full count, 3-2. Markakis was moved into the leadoff spot in the middle of April by Freddie Gonzalez, and it's really worked out well. He has reached base safely in 24 of his 25 starts this year, as they desperately look for some kind of offense here in Atlanta. It's pretty much Freddie Freeman and the other guys. Adonis Garcia waits on deck. This is bounced to shortstop. Nick Ahmed, a high hop, and he throws out Markakis. It's been a rough start, as we mentioned, for Freddie Gonzalez's Braves. 7-20. Last time they did that was back in 1988.
And here's how Freddie Gonzalez will line them up today. Markakis in the leadoff spot. We've just seen him. Adonis Garcia playing out in left field. Freddie Freeman at first base. Kelly Johnson at second. A.J. Przinsky doing the catching. Reed Brignac at third base. Eric Ibar at short. Braves also hit their pitcher in the 8th spot. That'll be Aaron Blair. And in the 9th spot, Malik Smith, the center fielder.
He is a speed burner, Malik Smith, so they like that speed there. Sort of a double leadoff deal the first time through the order. Strike 1 to Adonis Garcia, who's hitting .260 with 1 home run. Zach Greinke leaps up and snags that one. Quickly 2 down. Our eye on defense for the D-backs. It's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Well, when the music stops, grab a position, Brandon. Today it's left field for Brandon Drury. Chris Owings out in center. David Peralta in right. It'll be Lamb and Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Segura and Goldschmidt on the right side. Wellington Castillo behind the plate, and Zach Greinke on the mound.
And here is the Braves offense, so the Diamondbacks will put the shift on for Freddie Freeman, a big left-hand hitter. .263 and 3 home runs. And Freeman's 3 homers leads the team. As we mentioned a moment ago, the Braves as a group have homered only 6 times all year, and Freeman represents half of Atlanta's homers this season. It's been that kind of year. Oh, 0-2. This is the guy you want to get ahead 0-2 on.
No doubt. I'll tell you, Freddie Freeman, in one respect, and one respect only, reminds me of Todd Helton. If you throw him a pitch off the inside part of the plate, he will buggy whip it foul right over his own dugout on that first base side. Todd Helton, as dangerous as it could be, the best way to pitch him was to throw him a changeup off the plate inside, and he would just rip it into the stands on the first base side, and you're heading the count 0-1. We saw Freeman do it in this at bat.
Big power hitter from the left side, 6'5", 220. A ball and 2 strikes. Castillo sets up down and away, and Greinke throws it right to the glove, but Freeman knocks it the other way. He's had good luck doing that, Freddie Freeman. He'll go to left and left center on you. The Braves have a 2-out base runner.
I'll tell you, the hitters that have had the exaggerated shifts played on them, the guys that make the adjustment, and that's an awkward looking swing, but it serves its purpose. He just flips it out there into left field with a lot of risks right at the end. The guys that make that adjustment, like we just saw from Freddie Freeman, we saw earlier from David Peralta, are going to be the guys that are among the league leaders in hitting if they continue to play the shifts.
And they will continue. Kelly Johnson, the former Diamondback, playing second base and batting cleanup, and a .196 and no homers. Back in Atlanta, where he began his career back in '05, and where he played for part of last season as well. Originally a first-round pick by the Braves out of high school in Austin, Texas. Well, the idea with the shifts is, theoretically, it will develop a whole generation of hitters that know how to use the whole field, right?
Ideally, I mean, I think that's where we're headed offensively, other than the guys that can hit it over the shift and over the fence. You don't really want them to change their approach too much.
Still got to have those guys.
Yeah, but for those guys that are, you know, 15 to 20, maybe 25 home run hitters, they can add another 10, 20, 30 points on their average just by going to the opposite field a little more often.
See Jake Lamb move over into his overshift position. That's fouled off. A ball and 2 strikes on Kelly Johnson. Johnson split last year between the Braves and the Mets. He played in the World Series against the Royals last year. He has bounced around Orioles, Red Sox, Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays, and the Diamondbacks. His 11th season in the big leagues. Here goes Freeman on the 1-2 pitch. The throw from Castillo is not in time, and Freddie Freeman is in there with his first stolen base this year.
That one's on Zach Greinke right there. He just came to a very quick stop and glided into his delivery to home plate. Wellington tried to hurry his throw to second base. Unfortunately, his short hops down there, and Freeman's in safely into scoring position.
And a 2-2 count on Kelly Johnson. I don't know if it's because we're so close here. This is a great vantage point from which to broadcast, or the fact that the ballpark is about 1/3 full, but you can really hear Zach Greinke grunting with every pitch. Something you don't hear at Chase Field or some of the other ballparks we've been to. You can really hear him up here. Goldie at first. And Greinke works around the 2-out single. No score in Atlanta.
Field. We go to the top of the second, and Brandon Drury up to bat. We are reminded there are 5 players on this Diamondbacks roster that are former Braves, and Drury, Ahmed, and Delgado coming over in that Justin Upton trade, and then Goslin and Shelby Miller. But of those guys, one guy, which is Brandon Drury, has a lasting memory of his time with the Braves. That is the 4-year-old chocolate lab that his brother Brock named Brave. And Brandon tells me he'd like to get another dog. I suggested Baxter for the name for that dog, but
good call.
Or Jody.
0-1. Granted in there at 306. He's got 5 homers.
I'd have to change the dog's name from Brave.
Well, can you do that, or are you allowed to just change? You'll confuse the poor animal.
That's a dog.
You love dogs. Drury 0 for 4 yesterday in the loss to the Marlins. It was just the second time since the middle of April that Brandon started a game and did not have at least 1 base hit. And you go back to April 14th. Since then, he's hitting just under 350. And has become an everyday bat in this lineup for Chip Hale. This is bounced to shortstop. Eric Ibar throws him out. They've been less than thrilled here with Eric Ibar. Not the Braves, the fans. They had Andrelton Simmons, and they got real spoiled, as you can imagine, watching him play shortstop every day. And Eric Ibar, a very good defender, a Gold Glover, in fact, in his own right, during his long tenure with the Angels, is not quite Andrelton Simmons.
Comparatively, he comes a little short.
And he is a placeholder for Dansby Swanson, or whoever else they may have. They have a lot of prospects in their system. They're collecting them now here. Until one of those guys is ready, it's Eric Ibar. Here's Chris Owings in center field tonight.
You have a term for guys like Eric Ibar. He's serviceable. You can put him out there. He'll make the plays. Occasionally get you a big base hit. He's not going to hurt you. Knows how to play the game. He's just not Andrelton Simmons.
A few guys are. But this is the way it is in Atlanta. They're 7-20. They have guys like Eric Ibar and Reed Brignac and Kelly Johnson out there. Sort of A.J. Przinsky behind the plate, placeholder guys who will be long gone by the time all the prospects that they're collecting are ready to go. They'll have the new ballpark built by then, and that has been the blueprint here in Atlanta.
Yeah, and some of those guys you mentioned could be valuable pieces for playoff-bound teams later in the season. You know, veteran guys that have been around a little bit.
No, Kelly Johnson's been that guy the last 3-4 years of his career. He's played for every team in the league, it seems. This is well hit right to Adonis Garcia, who clanks it and can't find it. Owings takes the turn, and he's in at second base. Adonis Garcia, it went off him, and then I'm not sure where the ball was.
It was hit like a bullet off the bat of Chris Owings. A line drive right at the left fielder. He got kind of turned around a little bit. He just reaches up and clanks it off the leather.
They scored a double. It was well hit over his head, I guess. So the 4th double this year for Chris Owings. He's at second base. 1 out, and it's Zach Greinke batting 8th tonight. Chip Hale said before the ball game today he's pretty much done away with the bat the pitcher 8th thing that he was very high on earlier this year, except in the case of Zach Greinke, because he says he thinks of Zach as another hitter. Maybe Shelby Miller from time to time, but guys like Robbie Ray, Ruby De La Rosa, he says, have to show him a lot more with the bat before they'll hit 8. So it's pretty much down to just Zach right now with the 8 spot. And you can see the batting average as to why that is.
Yeah. I would tend to agree with that, unless Nick Ahmed continues to hit in that 9 spot the way he was earlier this year.
And that was one of the big selling points in the whole pitcher batting 8th thing. It really worked out for Nick. And it's interesting, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe not, but since they've really started getting away from that every day, Nick is 5 for 56. Popped up first base side for Freeman. 2 down, and here is Nick Allen. Once again, the Diamondbacks are in need of a 2-out hit with runners in scoring position. Nick at 177, he's homered 3 times. Got a pair of singles and a couple of RBIs this week in Miami. And he's up in an RBI spot right here with 2 outs. Ball 1. You see Aaron Blair's size, 6'4", 250. You look at the easy delivery, the stuff, you can see it, consistent, mid-rotation type innings eater here at the big league level. That's what the Braves saw, certainly, as did the Diamondbacks. 1-1. He's got big hands. You can see how he controls the baseball. Big mitts up there. And they believe that repeatable, nice, easy delivery will make him pretty durable to be a 30-star, 200-inning type guy.
Occasionally pitch counts will get in the way when he starts walking guys, and when he racks up high strikeout totals, that runs that pitch count up there a little bit. But big strong kid like that, he should be able to work deep into the game a lot.
Two and two. Aaron is from Las Vegas. He pitched collegiately in West Virginia at Marshall University. D-backs got him in the first round in 2013, 36th overall selection. He was originally drafted by the Houston Astros out of high school in the 21st round, but went to pitch collegiately at Marshall instead. And that proved to be the right move. He wound up a first-round pick.
I'm sure by the time Aaron played at Marshall, it was different than when I played against Marshall at Ohio University. They had both dugouts on the same side of the field.
Come on.
No.
Is that legal?
Apparently.
It's like a hockey bench.
The home dugout was like right behind where the on-deck circle is, and then the visitors' dugout started farther down the first baseline.
Well, what if there was an incident?
Well, we didn't have any incidents in college, but it would have been very easy. You wouldn't have to run out on the field.
It would just be a free-for-all down there. 2-2 on Nick Ahmed. Owings at second, 2 down. Nick knocks this one to Garcia, drops in front. Matt Williams will wave Owings home. The throw is offline, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. There's a big 2-out RBI hit for Nick Ahmed.
In the 9 spot. Almost lined into left field right there. Big arm out there by Garcia. Wasn't sure of the strength of his throwing arm. He waits on that ball, plays it on the big hop, and then unleashes a throw. Brzezinski steps out in front of home plate, realizing they had no play on Chris Owings. He was going to try to cut down Nick at second base, but he gets in safely.
Gene Segura, the leadoff man, grounded out to shortstop in his first at bat. Nick started to come around. We saw that in Miami. And it's nice to get that first run up there. Especially the way this offense has been scuffling. The tapper to third base. Reed Brignac has it. Low throw, but Freeman's there. And that's the end of the inning. But an Owings double and a Nick Ahmed single have made it 1-0 D-backs. the second on the way. And hey, D-backs fans, we are excited to introduce 1893 for the makers of Pepsi Cola. It's a premium cola inspired by the original Pepsi recipes and features premium cola extract and fair trade sugar. Pick one up at your local retailer today. 1893 from the makers of Pepsi. A.J. Pierzynski leads off the Atlanta second against Zach Greinke, who's now got a 1-0 lead. And how about this? A.J. Pierzynski in his 19th season in the big leagues, hitting .222. .39 years old. He'll be 40 in December. Shift is on for Pierzynski. Little jam shot floater out there. Who wants it? David Peralta charges that one away. Time now, Bob Brentley, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, it's right on time, too, because before this inning started, they tried to get the chop going here, and we have to stop the chop tonight.
Just on principle alone.
Absolutely.
Well, they can't get the chop going here. There's no one to chop.
Everybody has their hands in their pockets.
And there is that, too. Reed Brignac. Reed Brignac, only 2 games with the Braves this year, signed with Atlanta last November. He had been down at AAA Gwinnett. He was hitting nearly .330 there. Called up to the minors on Monday. I think the Diamondbacks so far have put on that overshift for almost every Braves hitter. Jake Lamb might as well just stay put at second base. Nick Ahmed all by himself over there at shortstop. Big cut there by Brignac, 1-2.
Well, did you see the way Zach Greinke came off the mound after delivering that big, slow curve ball? He figured if it's put into play, it's going to be put into play to the right side. Watch him jump over to the right side of the field there, just to put himself in a better defensive position in case that ball's put in play.
Swings at another one in the dirt. Castillo will complete the strikeout. That's the first for Zach tonight. 2 up, 2 down in the second.
Spikes that one right off of home plate. Brignac with the swing anyway.
It is something to watch Zach sit down with Matt Williams as they go over the infield positioning for every defender against this Braves lineup. Zach has a lot of input on that. Eric Ibar, the shortstop. Lamb will come in on the grass at third.
Reminds me of my former teammate Donnie Robinson, the caveman. He'd sit in those advanced meetings and he'd say, I don't care where you play anybody else, but put the shortstop in the hole. Because that's where they're going to hit it. So we always played the shortstop a couple steps over in the hole between third and short, and sure enough, they get 5 or 6 ground balls right there.
I ain't gonna throw nothing else.
They ain't gonna throw nothing but fastballs.
Up and in on Ibar. Now with the Braves, after a decade in Anaheim, where he was a .276 career hitter, he's about 100 points below that right now in Atlanta. That's 2 in a row there. Ibar adding to the drama by throwing the bat every time and putting on a display.
It's hot.
Dropped it like it's hot. 2 in a row.
I kind of like that doubling up inside. Of course, he had no intention of hitting him, but you know, for a lot of hitters, they'll guess along with a pitcher. He just threw me a fastball up and in. He's probably going to throw me an off-speed pitch away. Well, if you lean out there and the guy doubles up inside, you might walk right into one.
And then he paints the outside corner 2-2. These guys, of course, were once teammates for half a season in Anaheim. Greinke and Ibar.
Ibar may have kicked a couple behind.
Apparently he did, yeah. I owe you 2. And here they are in a row. 2 outs, 2-2 pitch. And he gets him to wave at that one. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Zach Greinke, who has set down 4 in a row, and he leads it 1-0.
Head to the top half of the 3rd inning. Hey fans, a D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
1-0 Diamondbacks. Jake Lamb, who walked his first time up, leads off the 3rd against former D-back prospect Aaron Blair. Lamb, Goldie, Peralta 2, 3, and 4 in the Arizona 3rd. Shift is on against Lamb, who looks at strike 1. This is popped up in the air, left center field. Adonis Garcia calling for it. He catches that one. And that's the first out. Paul Goldschmidt flying out to center his first time up. Goldie had a pair of hits and a walk in the series opener at Miami, but he went 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts in the final 2 games at Marlins Park. Trying to get it going. Blair ahead 0-2. That make this the Blair pitch project?
Ooh.
Probably not. Depends how the game goes, I guess. Missed away 1-2. He did not go. Sam Holbrook, the crew chief down there, and Goldie's still alive. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. He has never hit all that well at Turner Field. A 192 hitter in Atlanta. Another 2-2 on the way. Full count 3-2. He leads the major leagues in walks, Paul Goldschmidt.
Goldie would have liked the old ballpark here, Fulton County Stadium. That was a launching pad.
That's what they called it, right?
Yeah. Of course, a lot of it had to do with those anemic pitching staffs they had back in the day.
Well, that ballpark was where the parking lot is for this ballpark, which is just beyond left and left center here. And if you walk out there, somewhere there's among all the white lines for the parking is a home plate, right?
Where that's what I heard, yeah.
ARI hit the famous home run. 3-2. But getting to this ballpark is a struggle for anyone in Atlanta who wants to come here, because it's where it is. It's right along the highway. It's a little south of downtown, so if you live north where most people do and where they're building the new ballpark, it's a battle to get through downtown, through that traffic, and get here. And when you get here, the parking is not great. And Goldie adds to his major league leading total of bases on balls.
0-2 to a walk.
Some pretty good hitters on that list. Probably not a coincidence. David Peralta singled in his first at bat tonight. Goldie takes off, but he's hung up. High throw, and he's in there. Freddie Freeman threw it high. Eric Ibar leaped up to get it, but Goldie snuck in underneath.
Now that's one of those Paul Goldschmidt just take off while he's standing on the mound. Unfortunately, Blair snapped a throw over to Freeman. Freeman's throw way high. Ibar had to go up the ladder to get it, and Goldie's able to get down on the ground, get underneath the tag.
His second stolen base this year. So here we are, third inning, and Freddie Freeman and Paul Goldschmidt have both stolen a base.
How about that?
This is still the National League, right?
I think that tells you where these two offenses are right now.
Peralta, base hit. He rolls it into right center. They will wave Goldie. He will score. The freight train will stop at first with an RBI single. 2-0 Diamondbacks. And Peralta's 2 for 2.
That ball was ripped. Billy Johnson barely had time to move for that ball. It's shot by him into the gap in right center field. Goldie had to hold up momentarily at second base, but you can see Markakis moving far to his right, and being a left-handed thrower, it's going to take him a while to get his body turned and unleash that throw back to the infield. So Matt Williams waving Goldie the whole time.
And Aaron Blair already at 50 pitches here. Through 2 1/3. Wellington Castillo flying out his first time up. One thing Chip Hale said today, this was a key point made, he told us, to the Diamondbacks hitters in their advance meeting. Slow down. Shorten up your stroke. He said in Miami, and we saw this all 3 games, that Marlin bullpen is full of guys who can throw really, really hard, upper 90s fastballs. And Chip really felt that the Diamondbacks hitters were trying to match that velocity by swinging harder, which doesn't make any sense, but that you're human. That's what you do, I guess. And he said they addressed that today, and the team understands. Slow down the swings, be calm at the plate, nice, easy swings. And it seems to be working. Now, Blair is not going to throw upper 90s, he's low 90s, but the point has been made, and it seems to have sunk in here. So far, they've got 2 walks and 4 hits.
Yeah, that is human nature. The harder a pitcher throws, you want to swing just as hard as he's throwing, when in fact, if you just swing quicker, be quicker. You don't have to muscle it. Just be quicker.
As the great John Wooden once said, be quick, but don't hurry.
But don't hurry. John Wooden was also great at working the referees. He wouldn't call him a homer. He'd say, don't be a homer.
Are you calling me a homer?
No, I just said you shouldn't be one.
They used to have a mascot here named Homer. Homer the Brave. Done away with that.
We're told Homer is still here. He's probably a lot like Dinger, I would imagine.
Probably don't come out all that often then when you're 7-20. Rockies up there. along with the Giants and the Dodgers, tied for the lead in the NL West, all at 500, at least at the starter plate today. Diamondbacks, despite the fact they're 12 at 18, only 3 back, and that's been a blessing.
Rockies and Giants play later tonight in San Francisco. Chad Bettis against Madison Bumgarner.
All right, then. Oh, that's by Brignac at third, and it rolls down the left field line. Here comes Peralta, and Matt Williams going to wave him home here. Here's the throw from Garcia, and it is not in time. Peralta scores all the way from first, and Castillo stands at third. That one flew by Reed Brignac at third base, and Peralta came all the way around. That's a big-time freight train play right there.
A lot of topspin on that grounder. Gets it right by Brignac down into the left field corner. We mentioned Garcia's throwing arm earlier in the ball game, and he showcases it once again right here. They had David Peralta out at home plate, but the throw short, hops the catcher, gets away from Pierzynski, and heads up base running by Wellington Castillo, ends up on third base.
3-0 Diamondbacks. And Castillo 90 feet away with 1 out for Brandon Drury. Infield will come in for Atlanta. Mini Let's Motor player profile. How about this? Last 16 games, we mentioned this with Brandon Drury. This goes back to April 14th. He's hitting about .350 with 5 homers. A ball and a strike. Reaches out and pops that one up near the Braves dugout, and it's in the dugout.
About A.J. Pierzynski. He's caught over 1,900 games in his career, over 13,000 total chances, and he's made 66 errors.
Done it a long time. You got to give it to him. He actually had a nice season here in Atlanta last year. He played 113 games. He started over 100 behind the plate and hit 300. 9 homers. So here he is back at the age of 39. 1-2 on Drury. The roller, Castillo will stay put there. Brignac's on it, throws him out. Brings up Chris Owings, who singled and scored in the second. Came in on a big 2-out RBI single by Nick Ahmed. And the D-backs so far have added 2 more here in the third. And you've got the pitcher Zach Greinke on deck, so CO will get the free pass. And they'll work to Greinke, who popped up in his first at bat.
It's one of those deals. Of course, Chris Owens hitting 7th tonight with the pitcher hitting 8th, but you talk about intentional walks, you know, and you ask somebody who do you think led the league in intentional walks, and everybody immediately goes to the sluggers, because you know Barry Bonds, what did he get, 75 intentional walks in one season?
Sometimes with the bases loaded.
Yeah, a lot of times it's the number 8 hitter, the guy hitting in front of the pitcher.
And is that why we're always told that's a tough spot to hit?
Absolutely.
Because why should they pitch to you when the pitcher is up behind you?
Yeah, try to get you to chase something. I mean, you're hitting down there in the 8th spot usually for a reason. Trying to lead you out of the strike zone, get you to chase a bad pitch. And in a lot of situations, you don't care if you walk him anyway.
Well, in Zach Greinke's defense, he's hitting about .360.
Yeah.
So this could turn on them. Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, out there. Corey Blazer out to break up that meeting.
Yeah, maybe just giving Blair a little bit of a breather out there. He's thrown 25 pitches already in this inning.
And he's up to 63 for the ball game, 38 strikes. So here we go, 2 outs. Castillo at third, Owings at first, and it's Zach Greinke. Ball 1. Freeman holding Owings on the bag at first. Brignac playing back at third. And Greinke lifts it in the air to right field. Markakis. Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get 2 more. And we'll go to the home half of the third. They lead the Braves 3-0. In Atlanta. And fans, you can follow Arizona Diamondbacks baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. It lets you stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, the whole thing. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Zach Greinke trying to snap this losing streak at 6, and he's been pretty good after a loss.
Well, when you're pretty good all the time, you figure to be good after a loss, but the 25-7 record, ERA of 2.22.
That'll play. He set down the last 4 Braves he has faced. Aaron Blair, the pitcher, batting 8th tonight. Leads off the Atlanta third. There's a strike, 0-1. Greinke had 0-2. 31 pitches, 21 strikes. Got him. He has struck out 3 in a row now. Blair strikes out to open up the third.
Boy, and I just love the way you approach the opposing pitcher. Don't mess around. Don't waste any pitches. Go right after him. 3 pitches. Send him back to the dugout. Now go to work on Malik Smith.
And here is Malik Smith on his 23rd birthday today. His first season in the big leagues, 222 with a home run. Hit his first major league homer Tuesday at Citi Field in a win over the Mets. And this guy can really, really run. Jake Land will come in at third.
226 stolen bases in 4 minor league seasons.
Originally a Padres draft pick, came to Atlanta along with Jace Peterson before last year in the deal that sent Justin Upton to San Diego. And Greinke is ahead quickly 0-2.
It's been pointed out by our crack staff down in the truck that Smith wearing a double flap helmet even though he's not a switch hitter. I bet that's because of the stolen bases. Probably slides head first into second base and he'll have that ear flap protecting the left ear.
Good call. Swing and a miss, and there's another strikeout. Zach Greinke has now struck out 4 straight Braves, and he has set down the last 6 he's faced.
3 of the last 4 have been a strikeout followed by a 2-3 putout at first base. Braves chasing pitches in the dirt. Wellington Castillo blocks him on the swing and then throws the guy out at first base.
Nick Markakis, the leadoff man, grounded out to shortstop at his first at-bat. Boy, he is firing strikes in there tonight.
He is locked into that outside corner right now to these lefties.
37 pitches, 26 strikes.
And then just in case you're thinking about leaning out there to that outside corner, I'm going to put one up there under your chin.
Two. A strike away from getting the side in order. Vex says he feels like his pitches have been pretty decent the last couple of starts. He's seen an unusually high number of balls hit against him drop in for hits, and he believes that should stop pretty soon. That stuff tends to even itself out if you're a believer in BABIP, batting average on balls in play. 1-2 pitch. There's another one in the dirt. Zach Greinke strikes out the side. He has struck out 5 straight Braves, and he leads it 3-0.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Way to bounce back.
Well, I thought I was only talking to myself there for a moment.
How do you think I feel? Been that way for a long time.
Did you say something?
20, 30 years. Nick Ahmed had an RBI single in the second to score the first Diamondback run. They've added 2 more in the third and lead it 3-0 against former D-back prospect Aaron Blair. You get the sense that Nick is digging his way out. He's getting close. Progress headed in the right direction. And some good at-bats against the Marlins. Ooh. That one got away from Blair.
It's small consolation when you're struggling the way Nick has been, but he's hit the ball okay. He's hit some line drives at people, hard ground balls that the infield has made some plays on. Fortunately, gets out of the way of this one. That's right at his head.
You think they knew he was going to bunt?
I doubt it. 2-1. Just got away from the big guy.
What do you think about his delivery? It seems very easy, flowing, maintenance-free, Aaron Blair.
Well, like I said before, I think he's a little wobbly out there. Most of the time, you want your pitcher to try to keep his head as still as possible. He rocks all the way over to the first base side, then back to the middle of the rubber. Possibly eliminate some of that movement. Might make him a little more consistent in the strike zone.
Reed Brignac.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, for a big guy, it's not like he's out there just trying to overpower the ball and muscle it into home plate.
He's at 70 pitches, 42 strikes. Aaron Blair made his major league debut April 24th here at Turner Field as Gene Segura steps in. That was against the Mets. He lost a close ball game 3-2. He pitched pretty well. 5 1/3, gave up 3 runs. Bounces that one. His second start was last Friday. That was at Wrigley Field against the Cubs, and he pitched really well in that ball game. Allowed only 1 run, just 2 hits in 6 innings, walked 3 and struck out 3. So the bases on balls have been a small issue. And he's certainly not been very efficient here, and that's the second batter in a row to which a breaking ball got away and almost hit somebody in the head.
Watch Segura spin around after he falls to the seat of his pants, gets out of the way of that hanger, and
3-0. Blair tonight has walked 3, 1 intentionally. He does not have a strikeout. That's characteristic of a sinker ball guy. And he loses Segura. 1 out walk will bring up Jake Lamb. They get 4 walks for Aaron Blair. Lamb has walked and flied out 0 for 1. Interesting to see how aggressive Gene Segura is on the bases here. Coming off that discomfort in his hip flexor area, which they say is still in there a smidge. He's about 90% or so back. He did not start the first 2 games of the series at Miami. Did have a pinch hit single in his only at bat Wednesday, and then was back in the starting lineup last night and went 2 for 4. And Gene has been running all week and running well, which is why he's in there. Such a big part of his game.
12 of Blair's last 16 pitches have been out of the zone.
75 pitches, 42 strikes.
Yeah, which is maybe why you don't run right now. If he's not going to throw strikes, just wait him out, move up 90 feet when he walks the next hitter behind you.
Braves have the shift on. Ibar, the shortstop, is on the first base side of the bag. That's one is in there for a strike. 1-1.
I mentioned A.J. Pierzynski's defensive numbers earlier. Only 66 errors and over 13,000 chances, but he does not throw well.
Segura 4 for 5 in his stolen base attempts this year down there with first base coach Dave McKay. Had a great conversation with Dave the other day about a particular pitcher who shall go unnamed. And Dave had him down 100%. He knew when he was going to throw to first and knew when he was going to deliver to the plate. That one's going to get in the seats. By watching the guy's chin. I mean, that's the kind of things that he picks up on.
Sure.
And he was right every time. And if you'll notice, Dave, we've talked about this before. He always stands down there at first base in the exact same spot, the same footprints, in fact. So every time he looks at the pitcher, he's looking at the exact same angle. And he'll look for some little subtle difference, some anomaly out there with his delivery that tips off something.
And most of the time, pitchers and pitching coaches and catchers don't even know the guy is doing it out there on the mound. I knew a pitcher one time that when he was throwing home, he would take a real deep breath. And when he was going to throw to first, he would hold his breath.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. And if you watch enough video and stand over there in that first base coach's box as many years as Dave McKay has, you start to notice little things like that.
Sometimes you'll check in with Dave and he'll say, not much on this guy tonight. Other nights it's, oh yeah, we got something. So he's really given a battle here in a 1-2 count. And it might be a chin, it might be a foot, a toe, a hip, a breath. He must be a great poker player. Dave McKay, right?
Read all your tells, yeah.
One more time on 1 and 2. Upstairs, even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Alexi Ogando warming up in the Atlanta bullpen. Aaron Blair, the pitch count now at 80, and only 46 of those 80 pitches for strikes. Segura, the runner at first, 1 out. The 2-2 is blasted right into the shift. Kelly Johnson has it, and they double off Segura.
Dave McKay is asking Chip Hale to take a look at that one. Immediately looked into the third base dugout.
Kelly Johnson, the second baseman, well over toward the right field line. That was hit on a rope, but right at him. And that's why you shift right there. Let's have a look.
Now, this is one where, as a runner at first base, you have to remember with that exaggerated pull shift, there's a player in that hole between first and second.
Sam Holbrook, the first base umpire, says out. There is no challenge. That's the end of the inning. Diamondbacks lead the Braves 3-0. Braves 3-0. Zach Greinke has tied a career high by striking out the last 5 Braves he has faced. It's our Gig Life high-speed highlights presented by Cox.
Love to watch a good pitcher when he's locked into that strike zone. Bounces pitches when he wants to bounce them. Throws them for strikes when he wants to throw them for strikes.
Zach Greinke at 40 pitches, 28 strikes. He has retired 7 straight. The last 5 by strikeout. And Adonis Garcia, the left fielder, leads off the Atlanta 4th.
It's the second time in this ballgame Zach has had a false start out of the windup. took the step back and decided something wasn't quite right, so he just stepped off the back of the mound. Start over again.
And he starts out with strike one. By the way, the Diamondbacks record is 7 straight batters struck out by guess who? Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling.
Yeah. All of those in 2001. RJ did it 3 times. Schill did it 1 time.
0-2.
That's just good coaching is all that is.
Well, I won't argue with you. Send those guys out.
Yeah, here's the ball. Go get them.
2 out of every 5 times. Reaches out and hits it right to Segura, and that's the first out in the 4th. 8 straight set down by Greinke. The Braves only hit as a Freddie Freeman single in the 1st, and here's Freeman's second at bat. Jake Lamb will move over to second base from 3rd, and they'll put the shift on for Freeman, who hit the ball the other way his first time up.
This is one of those nights where you hear pitchers complain about difficulty getting a good grip on the baseball. Very chilly night. Wind is blowing. This feels like a Candlestick Park night.
It does. I mean, I know we're from Arizona and everything. It's warm all the time, but this is not Atlanta weather. This is more like Pittsburgh. And the wind is still blowing in. Here it is. 0-1 on Freeman.
I'll tell you what, partner, I think we're going to get a foul ball up here this series.
We've had a few close ones already.
Yeah.
We are very low. This is one of the best booths in the league for me because you're so down low close to the field. Miami, we were on the 6th floor. Here we are. And there's the field right down there. Well, it looks kind of high on TV, actually. But compared with most booths, we're in pretty good shape here. Look out. It was hit right at the Braves first base coach, Terry Pendleton. I like this ballpark. I used to come to games here all the time when I lived in Atlanta. It's done a good job, considering it was once a track and field facility for the Olympic Games. Getting here is another story, but it's a nice park.
You have to go with that Yasiel Puig theory. Get a helicopter.
Today was unbelievable.
It took us like an hour and 20 minutes to get from Buckhead to downtown Atlanta.
Piedmont was an absolute parking lot. You can't get it. You can't get on any of the highways. Forget that. You got to go back roads, and the back roads are all jammed because everyone's on the back roads because everyone's on the highway.
I've been around professional baseball for a long time, and today was the first time I've ever been on a bus that made a U-turn in the middle of a city street.
The guy gave up. It was so bad. It's like, the heck with this. I'm going the other way. We were sitting there for 10 minutes. We didn't move an inch. 2-2. Freeman chases that one. Zach Greinke gets his 6th strikeout. 2 down in the 4th.
And 5 of the 6, I pointed this out before. Wellington Castillo's had to complete the out. A couple times he's thrown down to first. A couple times he's tagged. He's putting that pitch right where he wants it in those 2 strike counts. Close enough to the zone that the hitter feels like he has to protect. But by the time he swings at it, it's in the dirt.
Kelly Johnson grounded out his first time. Well, Greinke coming off a no decision in his previous start. That was last Saturday against the Rockies. He's now with 50 pitches, 35 strikes. He pitched well in that ball game. Gave up only 2 runs, 8 hits, and 7, and tied a season high with 8 strikeouts. He's already got 6 tonight. And it was the 3rd time in his last 4 starts that Zach has held the opposition to 2 runs or fewer. So, you know, you look at the ERA and the number of hits allowed him and go, whoa, you know, not so good. But he's actually done pretty well here. And getting better every time out, just about. This is the second time, at least the second time in the ball game tonight, that they have moved Jake Lamb from third base over into the shift around second base in the middle of the count, depending on what the count was, I'm guessing.
Yeah, after a strike. They figured that Johnson's only likely to bunt for a base hit at first or second pitch of the at-bat. Once he gets a strike on him, he's probably going to go ahead and swing away. At least that's what the charge would say. So they protect against the bunt until he gets a strike on him, and then they go into the pull shift after that.
Frankie behind, 3 balls and 1 strike on Kelly Johnson. And that's hit right into the shift, but it sneaks through, and Johnson has a 2-out single, just the second hit for Atlanta. Well, they had the right idea there. Jake not quite in the right spot.
Ball was hit pretty hard, had some topspin as it got through that grass and shot through the dirt part of the infield.
Ends a stretch of 9 straight retired by Greinke. He'll work to A.J. Pierzynski. Pierzynski flied out to right his first time up.
Yeah, one thing was Zach Greinke on the mound, and Nick Ahmed just ran into the mound to talk to him. He probably said, "You take all the bunts on the left side."
That's a great call. Yeah.
You know, he's such a good fielder. He bounces off that mound so well. Nick can back up now and play a deep shortstop position, and Zach is responsible for anything bunted on that left side of the field.
The guy's hitting about 380. He's got gold gloves on the resume. He's a pretty good pitcher. When you have him on your side for a while, you really begin to appreciate everything he does as a baseball player,
sure,
not just as a pitcher. That's yanked right at the Braves dugout. A.J. Pierzynski broke into the big leagues as a 21-year-old with the Twins back in 1998. He was in Minnesota for 6 seasons, a year with the Giants, then an 8-year run with the White Sox. But the last 3 seasons he has been a vagabond. The Rangers, the Red Sox, the Cardinals, now back for another year in Atlanta. Last 2 hitters, Greinke not as sharp as he had been all night. He went to 3 balls on Johnson. Now he's behind on Pierzynski, 2-1. There's a strike, 2-2.
Boy, that's nearly an unhittable strike. That's what A.J.'s telling the home plate umpire, Corey Blazer. That might be a strike, but there's nothing I can do with that pitch.
Well, especially it's a couple of baseballs off the plate. It makes it a little harder, too.
Quick step out there by A.J. Trying to break up Zach Greinke's rhythm out there on the mound. He's one of those guys. I have to repeat what I said about Ozzie Guillen when he managed A.J. He says, yeah, when he's on the other team, you hate him. When he's on your team, you hate him a little less.
Doesn't bite at that one in the dirt. I guess you learn to lay off those when you've been in 19 years. And it's a full count, 3-2. So Johnson will be off from first with a pitch here. Goldie will play behind the runner. Reed Brignac would be next. There goes Johnson. That one is a rocket foul down the right field line. Baldo down there whiffed.
Ooh.
And it was a full miss.
This National League East,
it's terrible.
Can't field their positions.
The Marlins guys really had a rough series. Johnson takes off one more time. Called strike 3. Corey Blazer rings him up. And that's 7 strikeouts for Greinke. We are through 4. Diamondbacks have a 3-0 lead. Barking at the home plate umpire Corey Blazer, who has just ejected the Braves catcher. Brzezinski has been run on that called strike 3 and the 3-2 pitch from Zach Greinke. And Brzezinski was pointing out that there was another dicey strike call earlier in the at-bat, and that was it.
Yeah, Freddie was just a little late to get out there and save his starting catcher. Tyler Flowers will take over behind the plate for A.J. Pierzynski. I think that was a residual effect of the pitch earlier in the sequence. That one we showed you, there was a couple of balls off the outside corner, and then that last pitch, a changeup that was kind of fading down out of the zone, might have nipped the bottom of the kneecaps, but wasn't good enough for A.J.
So Tyler Flowers, just like Pierzynski, a former White Sox catcher, will take over behind the plate for the Braves as we start the 5th inning. The Diamondbacks have a 3-0 lead on former D-back prospect Aaron Blair, who has not been all that sharp tonight. He's walked 4, 1 intentionally. He does not have a strikeout, and he's given up 3 runs on 4 hits. He's thrown a lot of pitches. The bullpen has already been busy for Atlanta earlier in the ball game, and Goldie will lead off the 5th.
Yeah, the high in pitches for Blair came earlier this season at AAA through 96 in 6 innings. At the big league level, his pitch high is 85.
And he begins this inning. 81 pitches, only 47 strikes, and there's ball 1 to Goldie, who has flied out, walked, stolen a base, and scored a run. One and one. I don't think anyone's ever surprised when A.J. Pierzynski gets himself ejected. He sort of got that, as you were talking about earlier, sort of got that rep. Not saying he was wrong, but.
Well, you know, for a catcher, when you're sitting back there receiving pitches from your own guy and you see what strike zone has been established, whether it's within the rule book or not, and then you get pitches called on you that your pitcher did not get in the inning before, it tends to get under your skin a little bit.
Goldie over the glove of Ibar and into left, a base hit for Paul Goldschmidt. He's aboard for the 2nd time tonight. That sounded like the voice of experience.
Yes.
Take a while, think it over. Man aboard.
And umpires don't like to hear you say, I want that same pitch for my guy.
Well, why not?
Well, it's insinuating I'm calling 2 different strike zones.
Not insinuating anything. You are.
You are. Yeah.
Peralta 2 for 2, a couple of singles. He's got an RBI. He scored a run. Good to get David's bat going here. Came in tonight hitting just under 260 on the year. Had Goldie leaning the other way that time.
Just a little bit.
Dodgers are in Toronto tonight playing the Blue Jays. We'll be there later this year. That game at the Rogers Center in Toronto. 2-2 in the 7th inning. Rockies and Giants will get underway soon at San Francisco. This is belted to right. Markakis, a very good defender, makes a terrific catch, and they will double off Goldie. Nick Markakis has got a couple of Gold Gloves on the mantelpiece from his days in Baltimore. And Peralta hits into 2 outs right there.
That's unfortunate. Goldie's on the move. They're running on the pitch, and there's nothing you can do. If that ball's lined right at a defender, you just keep running and hope he misses the ball. They're going to double you off either way on that ball hit right at the right fielder. So just keep running and hope he drops it.
So David lines into a double play. 2 down for Wellington Castillo. Castillo was last time up, hit one down the third base line that got by Reed Brignac. It was ruled an error, E5, and there was no RBI in the play, but Peralta scored all the way from first. Blair now at 90 pitches, 52 strikes.
I'll tell you, Tyler Flowers is a huge human being back there behind the plate. He's listed at 6'4", 260.
He's a big one.
And yeah, not a lot of flexibility in his legs. He sits really high in his crouch. Normally a guy's rear end falls all the way down to the heels of their shoes when they get in that crouch.
Called strike 3. First strikeout for Aaron Blair. Bottom 5 all the way. It's 3-0 Diamondbacks.
Top of his game tonight. Hey fans, lots of big home games coming up this month that you do not want to miss. Next Saturday, May 14th, is Star Wars night, and fans can get the Star Wars soft style t-shirt courtesy of Cox Communications. May 16th through the 18th, the D-backs host the Yankees at Chase Field. And over Memorial Day weekend, we're giving away the D-backs mesh pool bag and a barbecue apron. Get tickets now at dbacks.com.
3-0 Diamondbacks. And Reed Brignac leads off the Atlanta fifth against Zach Greinke, who has got 7 strikeouts. He has given up just 2 hits, both singles. Greinke has retired 10 of the last 11 Braves he has faced. Shift is on again for the Diamondbacks. They overload the right-hand side. Jake Lamb out there right in front of second base umpire Rob Drake. One and two. Zach Greinke, 8 strikeouts in his last start Saturday against the Rockies. 7 so far, ahead of Brignac, 1 and 2. A tapper that stays fair for Goldie. And here's Eric Ibar, the shortstop. Ibar acquired by the Braves in November, part of the deal that sent Andrelton Simmons to the Angels. He had been 10 years in Anaheim. Won a Gold Glove there, went to the All-Star games just 2 seasons ago. Jake Lamb sneaks in from third. And Ibar carves it the other way. A 1-out single to third hit for the Braves.
Needed to be either a little higher or a little lower. If it's a little bit higher, it turns into a lazy fly ball to left field. If it's a little bit lower, it turns into a ground ball to the left side. But right there, belt high, clean line drive into left field for a knock.
Well, here comes the pitching coach, Mike Butcher. The pitcher's spot is up for the Braves, which is 8th in their order. And former D-back Matt Tuiasosopo just called up to the Braves big club. Will hit for Aaron Blair, whose night will end right here. Tuiasosopo called up for the minors on Monday. He's had only 1 at bat all year for Atlanta. Corey Blazer out to break this up. I'm sorry, Mike Butcher, your time is up. So here's Tuiasosopo. Diamondbacks selected Matt off waivers before the 2014 season, you might recall. He was in spring training in Scottsdale that year, but was waived and picked up by Toronto before opening day, and now he's here with Atlanta. Ibar first, 1 out. I don't have enough room on this thing to write Tuiasosopo.
That's a lot of letters.
So Aaron Blair goes 5 innings. Gives up 3 runs on 5 hits. He walked 4, 1 intentionally, had 1 strikeout. Swing and a miss. Greinke ahead 0-2. Ibar takes off. The pitch is in the dirt for a ball, and the throw from Wellington Castillo is there in plenty of time. Gene Segura gets the tag down. Another caught stealing, and he's all smiles back there. It's Beef Wellington.
Boy, he gets rid of that ball so quickly. Everybody likes to talk about his strong throwing arm, and he does have an above-average arm, but for me, it's how quickly he unloads that ball to second base, gives that middle infielder enough time to make the catch, get the tag in and out, and that pitch was in the dirt.
1-2 count now with 2 outs on Tuiasosopo. Shelby Miller, the former Brave, goes here tomorrow. That's a 4:10 first pitch back home in Arizona. Diamondback Live pregame show at 3:30. Patrick Corbin and Mike Foltynewicz on Sunday. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. That's 8 strikeouts for Greinke, matching a season high. He's got a 3-0 lead through 5.
Top half of the 6th inning. It's time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Happy birthday to Willie Mays, born on this day in Westfield, Alabama, back in 1931.
Was he the greatest center fielder ever?
You know, I didn't get a chance to see Willie play that much. Obviously, back in the day, we didn't have every game on TV.
Well, we have all the numbers and, you know, video stuff.
I find it pretty hard to think anybody's better than him.
I tend to agree.
He's the whole package. He could do anything you needed done on a baseball field and do it with flair. And one of the great joys of my playing career with the Giants at the time I was playing, the organization was making a concerted effort to bring guys back into the fold. Bring Willie McCovey back, bring Willie Mays back, get him in uniform for spring training and just hang around those guys and listen to them tell stories. It was amazing.
The say hey kid.
Yep.
Jim Johnson, the new pitcher for the Braves, as we start the top of the 6th. Brandon Drury leads it off. He's 0 for 2. This one is belted deep left field, way back, and there it goes. It's gone. Brandon Drury. That's his 6th 4-0 D-backs.
Wow, that was a fast homer that time.
Brandon Drury, what a role he's been on. That's why he is in the lineup every day. It's an everyday Major League bat right there. The former Brave prospect.
Man, a hanger on the inside part of the plate. He knew it the minute he made contact. We talked about it earlier. Line drives will leave tonight, but you have to keep them down underneath that strong wind. And boy, did he ever.
Well, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the Braves as a team for the entire season have a total of 6 home runs. Brandon Drury, a former Brave prospect, now has a total of 6 home runs. So what I'm saying is, I think you get the point. Here's Chris Owings. So Brandon Drury greets Jim Johnson with a solo shot. 4-0 Diamondbacks. Co's had a good night. He doubled and scored in the second. Was walked intentionally in the third. One of 4 walks surrendered by former D-back prospect Aaron Blair. And Jim Johnson's no slouch. This guy used to be the ultimate lockdown closer in Baltimore only a few years ago. Back-to-back 50 save seasons, 2012 and 2013. 101 saves in 2 years. And was just the second pitcher ever with back-to-back 50 save seasons after the Dodgers' Eric Gagne. But since then, he's been in Oakland, Detroit, Atlanta, the Dodgers, and now back in Atlanta. At the age of 33.
Heavy sinking fastball in the low to mid 90s, and that big curveball he just bounced in the dirt right there to Chris Owings. Basically just a 2-pitch arsenal. He does have a changeup, but he rarely throws it.
Chris Owings, 3-2 pitch, bounces it to shortstop Eric Aybar. Took Aybar a minute to find that baseball, but he throws it out. Here's another look at the 6th of the year for Brandon Drury, and that is a big-time jumbo jack. And Brandon Drury now counting tonight 5 home runs in his last 9 games.
What other positions can he play?
Maybe he'll be Bert Campaneris and do them all one day. Zach Greinke.
Well, you definitely have to find a place for him every day. Keep that bat in the lineup. He is always 1 pitch away from hitting that ball in the seats or into the gap.
Maybe while we're sitting in Buckhead traffic trying to get over here from the hotel, you can have one of your staff run off the bus and run into a Jack-in-the-Box here. Get us a jumbo jack for the rest of the trip, which will probably take another 45 minutes.
I would assume that the participating locations are limited to the Valley of the Sun.
But if you go in and tell, or if your staff member tells, hey, look, this is for Bob Bradley. Can we make this happen? We can go in there with his phone and show him the video of Brandon's home run on his phone if he's got the MLB.com at Bat app, which is the #1 app for live baseball.
Well, if they're baseball fans working at Jack in the Box, chances are they remember how I used to beat on their team. I used to hit the Braves pretty good.
Was there a Brave pitcher in particular that you got to?
Oh, let's see. Rick Mailer was always fun to face. Just about any of them back in the early to mid 80s. They were really struggling here.
Got ugly here for a while.
This would have been the opening day crowd back then. Plenty of good seats still available every night.
A high bouncer. Aybar got a hurry here. And he throws out Greinke. That one, the 3-2 pitch, bounced high over the mound, kind of died there, but Aybar charged it. And that's the second out in the 6th. Well, it was, of course, at the old place where Pascual Perez, what do they call him, the king of the perimeter or whatever, he was trying to find the ballpark and just circled the city for several hours and almost missed his start, or did, in fact.
Yeah. Had I-95 or I-295 put on the back of his warm-up jacket.
That's it. Or 285, yeah.
285, whatever it was.
The perimeter.
Yeah.
It is not easy to navigate this city. Nick Ahmed, an RBI single in the second. He is 1 for 2. Nick drove in the game's first run with a 2-out RBI after Owings had doubled. Diamondbacks now with 6 hits. They lead it 4-0.
Of course, my most infamous game ever as a player came against the Braves. It was at Candlestick Park.
Oh, the 4-error home run.
4-error, and then the home run to win it off of Paul Ossenmacher.
Well, that ended well.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't so sure in that fourth inning.
But you've got the ultimate trump card. That always comes up, the 4 errors in 1 inning game, but it always ends the same way. And then he hit a walk-off home run. Case dismissed.
Case dismissed. Court is adjourned.
Exactly. 2-2 on Nick.
You know, it was a shame that the Braves struggled the way they did because they had some really good individual players. Dale Murphy was outstanding.
Bob Horner from ASU. Bob Horner was a beast at third base. Brandon Drury does it again. This is number 6 for the D-back rookie, the former Brave here in Atlanta. Makes it 4-0 Diamondbacks. Brandon Drury's 6th home run this season has made it 4-0 Diamondbacks. And fans, coming up Sunday, the debut 2016 for a cup of coffee. As I sit down with the freight train, David Peralta, to talk about his nickname, his struggles, his perseverance to make it to the major leagues. It's a brand new season, a cup of coffee, presented by CenturyLink. And it starts this Sunday with the David Peralta episode. And we will show that on Fox Sports Arizona twice this Sunday, Mother's Day, 1:30 and 10 o'clock. Cup of coffee with David Peralta only on Fox Sports Arizona coming up on Sunday. It's nice to hear that whistle. When I know things are going well when I hear your freight train whistle. It's a good sign. Alex Smith leads off the 6th against Greinke, who has 8 strikeouts. He's tied a season high. 75 pitches, 51 strikes for Zach. Alex Smith up there on his 23rd birthday today. Happy birthday. Get to face Zach Greinke.
Go get him.
Yeah. This is hit high in the air along the right field line. David Peralta may have room here, and he does, but he can't get it in foul ground. That one hung up there forever in that wind.
Yeah, that's one of those high pop-ups that got up high enough that the wind affected it, kept pushing it closer and closer to that sidewall down there. David at that point can't take his eye off the ball, just comes up a little short as he crashes into the wall almost simultaneously.
Did you ever turn the bat like that for the batter after a foul ball? Or Wellington Castillo put the bat up?
I was told very early on in my big league career, don't do that.
So when Alex Smith comes back after running out that foul ball, the bat is standing up upright for him as a courtesy.
Well, I was told by a veteran pitcher, make him bend over and pick it up. Maybe he'll hurt his back.
Oh, that one comes back to bite the Diamondbacks as Smith gets his birthday present. He drops a leadoff single in front of Brandon Drury and lefts.
Well, and even trailing by 4 runs in the game, Smith a threat to steal. That's a huge part of his game.
And for more on Mallex Smith and his speed, here's Jody.
On the scouting scale, guys, 20 to 80, 80 being the highest grade. He's an 80 with speed. Thing is, his mother says he's the slowest in the family. She's a track coach. His brother was a running back at Arkansas, sister track star at Florida. Another sister just missed the Olympics as a hurdler. So mom in high school met him every day before lunch running sprints.
And they try to pick him off, and they throw it away. Goldie got all tangled up over there. Terry Pendleton is arguing he should get third base as well, with Sam Holbrook, the crew chief, and Sam is laughing at him.
I think the ball hit Sam Holbrook over there at first base. I think that's why everybody's having a little chuckle about it.
Freddie Gonzalez out to have a conversation with Corey Blazer, the home plate umpire. Let's have a look.
It caught Sam Holbrook on the inside of the left foot and then ends up in that Braves dugout.
Well, the umpire is part of the field.
Considered to be part of the field, yeah.
So no sale. They'll put Smith at second base after a conference. Funny thing about Mallex Smith, he's got all this speed. Stole 56 bases in the minor leagues last year, but he's only 50% on his base stealing attempts this year. He's been thrown out 4 times and he's stolen 4 bases. And now he's in there at second to lead off the bottom of the 6th, and the leadoff man, Nick Markakis, steps in. He's 0 for 2.
I have to try to find out how many of the 4 caught stealings were pickoffs at first base. Where the first baseman throws on the middle infielder and they apply the tag at second, and it goes in the book as a caught stealing. Tell you one thing, Nick Markakis using this bat. You see the barrel end of it there. I believe this finish is called smoke. It's kind of a gray color. It would really go good with the D-backs' new unis.
Oh yeah, look at that. That one is hammered right at Peralta, drops in front of him. Smith had to hold up. Even with his great speed, they'll stop him there, down 4-0. Markakis has his first base hit. So a pair of singles lead off the Atlanta 6th against Zach Greinke, who's now at 80 pitches.
I think Zach's still upset with himself for that errant pickoff throw over there at first base to allow Smith to move up to second.
Well, you're getting into the heart of this Atlanta order, as it were. Adonis Garcia, the 2-hole hitter, is 0 for 2. Garcia just 4 for his last 30 at the plate. Zach was throwing nothing but strikes throughout most of the ball game, but the command and the control has gotten away a little bit here the last inning and a half or so. Not quite as sharp. Smith at third, Markakis at first. It's off Jake Lamb. Smith will score, and Garcia beats it out. We'll check on the D-backs third baseman. That one ate him up.
What a nasty hop, too. Came up, got him either in the collarbone or the throat area.
Looks like it might have got him in the throat. That's a Tony Kubek hop right there.
He's in good position right in front of the ball, and that last hop just jumped up face high. A bad hop single right there.
So 3 straight singles for the Braves start off the 6th inning. And now they'll get the tying run at the plate. Nobody out in there. Real threat. Freddie Freeman steps in. Freeman singled and struck out. That's 2 balls in a row off Greinke that were absolutely smoked. There's a bouncer to Goldie. They get the force on Garcia, and they turn the double play. Markakis at third now, 2 down.
With a lot of pitchers on the mound, this is not even a dream, but Paul Goldschmidt knows if he gets the ball to Nick Ahmed in good shape, that Zack Greinke will be at the bag. He's over there like a first baseman, stretched out, taking that throw just in time to complete the double play. And now a quick powwow on the mound there, giving Zack an opportunity to catch his breath after running over to cover the bag.
Well, when you watch the Diamondbacks infield turn plays like that, it is simply amazing at how quickly Nick Ahmed can release that baseball and get it back. He is so quick down there.
It really is an overlooked aspect of infield play. How quickly does the guy get the ball from the leather into his bare hand and get off that throw, whether it's to second base or first base, and Nick does it as quickly as anybody in the game. Fernando Vina used to be a guy that had electric hands.
He used to play second base for Tony La Russa in St. Louis, Fernando Vina. So a run is in. Markakis is at third. 2 outs, and here's Kelly Johnson, who singled his last time up. The cleanup man tonight. Each team now has 6 hits. Good job there by Wellington Castillo with Markakis 90 feet away. Jake Lamb still kind of feeling that throat shoulder area where that ball caught him down there at third base. Boy, that thing was a smash. One-two pitch. Tap foul.
Making a few location mistakes in this inning. We've seen him on those 2-strike counts to the Braves hitters bounce that curveball on home plate or even a little bit in front of home plate and get some swings and misses. That time he left it right over the heart of the plate. Fortunately, just fouled away.
He's given up 6 hits, all singles. No walks. He has 8 strikeouts. 2 outs, 1 and 2 on Johnson. The one thing we cannot see from our booth here is the Diamondback bullpen, which is down in the left field corner. Where they have to, nobody's throwing down there, but all the guys have to sit on that platform just so they can see the field. 2-2. Everybody's bundled up down there tonight. Jackets and the whole thing. Full count, 3-2. Greinke's really starting to get agitated out there. New catcher Tyler Flowers, who came in when Przinsky got ejected, is on deck.
This is the first full count of the game for Zack Greinke.
90 pitches, 60 strikes. doesn't bite. First walk of the ball game for Zach. And we're going to look at Tyler Flowers. Tyler Flowers steps in as the bullpen gets busy. The Sheriff, Andrew Chafin on the right, the left-hander. And the right-hander, Jake Barrett on the right.
Notice they have 3 mounds here at this ballpark in the bullpen.
They must expect trouble. Flowers just 13 games with Atlanta this year. He's hitting .231 without an extra base hit. And that one will roll into Segura's glove. He can't collect it. And he's safe. Markakis scores. It's a 4-2 ball game. Boy, what a try there by Gene Segura. It was amazing he even got to that one.
Against a lot of these Braves hitters, you wouldn't even leave your feet. You just let it roll through into right field. But with the catcher Tyler Flowers running, Segura thought he still had a shot at him. Look where he starts from on this play. Shading up the middle of the field, ends up out in shallow right field, knocked it down. Just not enough time.
4th Braves hit in this inning, along with a walk. All the hits have been singles. They've scored twice. And here's Reed Brignac, who's 0 for 2.
Pitches now in the inning. It's obviously as hard as Zach has had to work tonight. He has been so in command, throwing the ball wherever he wants, whenever he wants, until this inning.
He retired 9 straight at one point. Earlier in the ball game, he actually struck out 5 in a row. Behind on Brignac, 1-0. Driven to center. Here comes Owens, and Seal is right there. So the Braves strand 2, but they get 2. We go to the 7th. It's 4-2 Diamondbacks. As we start the 7th inning, and greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. A look around the National League West. Dodgers are in Toronto, where they are tied up with the Blue Jays at the Rogers Center. Bottom 8, it's 2-2. Jose Bautista has homered for the Blue Jays. Hey, Joey Bats. Colorado and San Francisco coming up at AT&T Park. Madison Bumgarner and Chad Bettis. And the Mets are at the Padres, where Colin Ray almost threw a no-hitter last night.
Yeah, how about that?
That is Pomerantz, the lefty, and Syndergaard with the hammer of Thor and the whole thing.
Jose Bautista just getting to second base on his home run trot.
Yes, after the bat flip. That's what they call him, Joey Bats. Hey, Joey Bats.
Hey, tough guy.
Hey. So Segura leads off the Arizona 7th. He is twice grounded out and walked. 0 for 2. Jim Johnson still out there for Atlanta. And there's a strike on 1. Segura has now reached base safely in 13 straight games. Which is interesting because he's seeing more pitches than the Diamondbacks thought he would. The pitch FX data does show that Segura is being, if you can believe it, more selective at the plate. He is swinging at fewer pitches than ever before. And what's really interesting about that is he's actually cut down on the number of pitches he swings at that are inside the strike zone. It's not just that he's not chasing bad pitches anymore. That's part of it. But he's much more selective about those strikes that he does swing at. And it's made him a better hitter. And sure enough, as I say that, he strikes out.
Well, he did walk back in the 4th inning, but yeah, I get your point. Yeah, just because it's in the strike zone doesn't mean it's necessarily a pitch you can do anything with. We've seen some real good pitcher strikes in this game tonight already.
Freddy Gonzalez. He wants the ball from Jim Johnson. Pitching change in Atlanta. Back after this, Diamondbacks lead the Braves 4-2.
For the Braves as they go to their left-hander. Hey, fans looking for a cool way to spend Memorial Day weekend with the family? Air-conditioned Chase Field is the place to be. Get the D-backs pool bag on Saturday, May 28th, courtesy of
what?
Mattamy.
You looked at me. I'm like, what do you want from me? Yeah, Mattamy Homes.
Mattamy Homes. And on Memorial Day, Monday, May 30th, pick up the D-backs barbecue apron, courtesy of IHOP. For tickets, visit dbacks.com.
You startled me there.
Usually you get this read. And
well, you know, you can handle the big ones.
Mattamy Homes.
There you go.
I should have known that.
Here's the left-hander out of the Braves bullpen. It's Hunter Cervenka. And this guy's a very interesting story as he faces Jake Lamb with 1 out in the 7th. This is a pitcher that the Braves picked up. It's kind of a David Peralta story. He was pitching for the Sugarland Skeeters in Independent Bowl, meaning he's not affiliated with any organization. So they got him, they signed him, and he has now compiled 12 consecutive scoreless outings to start his major league career. So they picked him up off the scrap heap. So far, he's not given up a run in his first 12 appearances. That is the longest scoreless outing streak to start a career by a Braves pitcher in Atlanta history. Wow. And this is a guy that was pitching Independent Bowl not too long ago. Lifted in the air to Adonis Garcia in left field. Up in that wind, and it's still carrying away from him as he tracks it down for the second base. Tyler Clippard, who's thrown a lot lately, is warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Chip was saying the other day in Miami he'd like to stay away from Tyler if he could. It was a day or two ago, but they've been concerned about his workload lately. 2 down for Goldie. Goldie walked, stole a base, scored a run in the 3rd, and singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2.
Yeah, Clippard has had 2 days off in a row. He did throw 13 pitches on Tuesday, but wasn't needed Wednesday or Thursday.
the formula when the Diamondbacks have a lead like this late, and they haven't had a chance, having lost 6 in a row, to follow that formula. But it's Clippard in the 7th, Hudson in the 8th, and Ziegler in the 9th. And every time Chip Hale wanders away from that, throws a little curveball in there, things tend to go south on him. And I think he's regretted that a couple of times, and in fact admitted it. This is very well hit out to Garcia, but he's got it for the 3rd out. The stretch in Atlanta, Diamondbacks lead it by 2.
Jersey. Braves trail the Diamondbacks 4-2, bottom of the 7th inning. Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Zach Greinke tonight went 6 innings for the Diamondbacks, gave up 2 runs on 7 hits, had a walk and 8 strikeouts, and on to start the 7th inning. It's your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change. The right-hander Tyler Clippard with a dozen appearances out of the Diamondback bullpen this year. 4 runs allowed on 10 hits in 12 innings. And the long home run to Christian Yelich that Tyler allowed in his last appearance was the first home run he's given up this year. That was earlier this week at Marlins Park. Eric Ibar, the 7th place hitter in the Braves order. The shortstop will lead it off. Ibar singled his last time up, 1 for 2. Jake Lamb in on the grass at 3rd. Joe's bunt takes a strike. Pitcher spot is up next for the Braves. Daniel Castro, young infield prospect, is sitting on deck circle. Oh boy! Ibar just shoots it the other way over the head of Lamb, who was in. And it's a leadoff single.
Very similar to the base hit he got back in that 5th inning. Subsequently cut down trying to steal, but it's kind of flipped it out there to left field over the head of Jake Lamb at 3rd, out in front of Brandon Drury at left.
That is the 8th hit for Atlanta tonight, all of them singles. And here is Daniel Castro, 215, 1 extra base hit this year. He's had only 65 at bats. And steps in just 2 for his last 30. Like Butcher to the mound now. Ivar is still a threat to run. He's 2 for 2 in his stolen base attempts this year. Tyler Clippard very familiar with this mound at Turner Field, a longtime Washington National. Finished last year with the Mets as well, so he's pitched here a lot. Oh, and 2.
This figures to be a pretty good ballpark for Tyler Clippard, a guy that gives up a lot of fly ball outs and big outfield in this stadium. 390 to the gap in right center, 380 to the gap in left center, 400 to straight away.
Got him. Castro chased a high heater that time. 1 out.
Right up the ladder by Tyler Clippard. That ball neck high out over the plate. Castro cannot hold up.
He's a birthday man, Malik Smith, who singled and scored his last time up. 1 for 2. The center fielder, who turns 23 today. Long sent by Clippard. They'll keep Ivar close again. And with Malik Smith's speed up there, Lamb will have to come in at third. In there for a strike. 0-1.
Occasionally Tyler will use that quick slide step and then throw the straight changeup. I've talked about it before. A hitter sees that quick slide step, sees that pitcher coming toward home plate. So you start gearing it up a little quicker to get ready, and then he throws a changeup.
It's like an optical illusion. Did not go. That's Carlos Torres down at third. 1-1 on Malik Smith.
Jose Valverde was really good at that. He threw a split finger, but it served the purpose of a really good straight changeup, and we finally convinced him that if he would throw it out of the slide step, it would have the same effect that we've seen with Tyler Clippard's changeup tonight, and that became a really good weapon for him.
Papa Grande. Ivar takes off. That's in the dirt.
Oh,
what a play by Nick Ahmed. Did he get the tag down? Yes, he did. Nick Ahmed. Wow, what a play. And Ivar is out. It was in the dirt. He took off. How did Nick Ahmed get a glove on that ball and then get the tag down in time?
How did Wellington Castillo get to the ball and throw it sidearm behind the batter? Oh, Two great plays. Man, oh man.
That's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. He even tagged his own foot first.
Two great plays there. Wellington Castillo's sidearm throw behind the left-handed hitter, and then I don't even know what to call what Nick did down there at second base. I've never seen a play quite like that.
Well, you were talking about that earlier in the ball game when Castillo had a caught stealing on Ibar back in the 5th, in fact, about how he's able to dig those throws out of the dirt and fire a strike. 2-1 pitch here. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2 on Malik Smith. Another look. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh. And then because of the position he had to get in to pick that ball in the dirt, he effectively blocked the base. The runner had nowhere to go.
Yes, he went, Carlos Torres. And how about that inning by the Diamondbacks after the leadoff single? 8th inning all the way. They lead it 4-2. Diamondbacks lead the Braves 4-2. And hey, D-backs fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the D-backs wherever you go. New pitcher for the Braves, it's the veteran right-hander, Alexi Ogando. Texas Ranger. He was with the Red Sox last year and is now in Atlanta, where he's done very well, a 1.98 ERA in 12 appearances.
Yeah, the one thing that really jumps out there, 10 strikeouts, 10 walks in 13 2/3.
This was a guy who was a starter for a while with the Rangers. In fact, he was an all-star starter back in 2011. Made 29 starts for Texas. And then the next year was converted into a reliever, 58 relief appearances.
He's actually a converted outfielder. Spent the first 4 years of his pro career as an outfielder with the A's minor league system.
Here's a pitcher that was converted into an outfielder. It's David Peralta. 2 for 3, a pair of singles, an RBI, scored a run. Hard to believe when David was pitching for the Cardinals and he was a 21-year-old lefty. And look at him now. He's 210 right now. When he was pitching, he was a $160. He was a skinny little kid. We'll talk about that on the Cup of Coffee show coming up on Sunday. D-backs have been out hit by the Braves 8-6, but they lead it 4-2. That one is rolled foul. Diamondbacks got on the board in the second inning against former D-backs prospect Aaron Blair. Chris Owings had a 1-out double. And then with 2 down and Owings at second, Nick Ahmed came up with a big 2-out RBI hit, made it 1-0. They got 2 more in the third. Goldie walked, stole second, scored on a Peralta single. Castillo shot one down the third base line that went by Brignac. They ruled it an error, but Peralta scored all the way from first. That made it 3-zip. They added 1 more in the 6th. Brandon Drury, another rocket home run to left, his 6th of the year. It was 4-zip. But then in the home half, Atlanta countered with 4 singles against Zach Greinke. They got 2 runs.
Yeah, a lot of good things happening for the Diamondbacks tonight, including the start by Zach Greinke. But for me, that play we just saw, I've never seen anything quite like that.
I believe you.
That was amazing.
That one almost caught a Gondo, and Peralta knocks it up the middle. David's 3rd hit tonight. He's 3 for 4. And the other one was a rockety hit out to right field. Drive of the bus, leadoff man on in the 8th.
Yeah, that line drive to right field turned into a double play because Goldie was running on the pitch, and David just hit a rocket right to Nick Markakis coming in from right field. And he quickly turned it into a double play at first base.
Beef Wellington.
Just one more footnote on that play that Nick made at second base. There's a lot of middle infielders that wouldn't even attempt to stick their nose in there and make that play.
Oh, he's a tough kid.
You know you've got a sliding runner coming in there, probably with cleats up, and you're sliding, trying to get into a position and pick the ball out of the dirt and apply the tag all at the same time. There's a lot of middle infielders that just would have ran right past the bag and let that ball go into center field.
Yeah, and he had to stretch out to get in front of the bag like that and make the catch, and he was just exposed.
Yep.
That's how they grow them in Massachusetts, baby.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they tell me. 2-0. Alexi Agondo is a big guy out there, 6'4", 32 years old. Two and two. Really keeping an eye on Peralta down there.
Mentioned a couple of innings ago how big Tyler Flowers is back there behind the plate. And if you watch him after he gives his sign and gets into his set position with the runner on base, so he's ready to throw, he just very briefly takes away the vision of the home plate umpire. I mean, look, sitting in his crouch, he comes up to Wellington's shoulders as he's standing in the batter's box.
It looks like the mountain from the Game of Thrones.
And this time he just slides down inside, so it didn't come up out of his crouch that time.
Fair ball down the left left field line. It's by Brignac, and the freight train is on the run. They'll stop him at third, and Wellington Castillo has his 4th double. He's used that a lot tonight.
Didn't get it on his base hit, but that wasn't really a freight train moment. That was just a clean line drive up the middle. Going first to third on this ball, ripped down the left field line by Wellington Castillo. That gets you a whistle.
Diamondbacks have second and third, nobody out to open up the 8th inning. And Brandon Drury steps in. Brandon homered in his last at bat off Jim Johnson. He is now homered 5 times in his last 9 games. 1 for 3 tonight. There's a strike. His home run is our Jimmy John's delivery of the game.
It's a rocket line drive about 8 rows up in the bleachers in left field.
I talked about that the other day. Anticipating the adjustment, they're a little worried that everything he hits is a home run to left, so teams will start pitching him away. That's where they set up here, but he left it up. 0-2. So they've had Brandon Drury working this week on his approach to right and right center field because they anticipate that teams are going to stop throwing him anything inside, because every time they do, he hits a home run.
And he's using one of those smoke finished bats.
Oh, he got one. Yeah. How does it look with the uniform?
It looks nice. It looks very nice.
The yellow clashes.
Yeah.
We got to make that teal.
Different color pine tar.
Can you get teal pine tar?
I'm sure you can.
I bet, yeah. Got Mother's Day coming up here Sunday. Get your pink bats ready.
Pink wristbands, pink everything.
We're back with you tomorrow for game 2 of the 3-game set. 3:30 Diamondback Live pregame show. 4:10 first pitch. Shelby Miller, the former Brave, back in town. Julio Teheran goes for Atlanta. Corbin and Fultonevich on Sunday. Then it's off to Colorado. 1-2 on Brandon Drury.
I guess we shouldn't be complaining about the cool temperatures here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Our broadcast department meteorologist, Greg Schulte.
The governor was all over the weather on the bus ride.
Yeah,
well, he had an hour and 10 minutes to look at weather, so we were getting reports from all over the country.
Yeah, he was saying a high in the low 60s and the low in the 30s in Colorado when we're there.
Hey. Yeah, wear your jacket with the hood. Another 1-2. Oh, a smash right off Brignac. He's got time to recover and throws him out. Usually it's Brandon Drury that gets those down at third. But that time he hit it at Reed Brignac. And I mean that literally.
Wow. I mean, he's playing in there with the runner at third base, trying to cut that run off at home plate. I don't think he had enough time to react right there. That ball just hit him before he could get his glove up.
That was a rocket.
Wow.
Reed Brignac.
Strong chest and a strong arm. Don't rub it.
And with first base open and the pitcher spot coming up, they will give Chris Owings the free pass and load the bases with 1 out. And Phil Gosselin, the former Brave, back in town, is out there in the on-deck circle. He would hit for Tyler Clippard. This is the second time of the ball game. You were talking about this earlier, how hard it is to hit ahead of the pitcher. Second time in the game that Chris Owings has been walked intentionally. So the D-backs will have bases loaded. 1 out in the 8th inning, up 4-2, and Phil Gosselin will step in. Announce Gosselin as the hitter. Gosselin has been scuffling a bit lately. Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, is out there to have a word with Alexi Ogando. Phil just 3 for his last 24 at the plate. He's had a lot more consistent at bats lately, while Segura's been out with that hip thing. But he's down to 233 on the year. Acquired by the Diamondbacks from these Braves last year.
I think we got out of Miami just at the right time, partner, for a lot of different reasons. But Giancarlo Stanton tonight hit the longest home run of the season so far, estimated at 475 feet.
Oh, wow. 475. And it was 190 miles an hour off the bat. Wow.
I'm being told that Christian Yelich hit one 468, just a little fence scraper.
Yelich, that's 3 of those for Yelich this week. Tape measure homers. Peralta at third, Castillo at second, Owings at first. 1 out. Here's Gonsolin. There's a strike, 0-1. Phil this year 4 for 14 as a pinch hitter. And he hit into some hard outs in Miami. He had a couple of hang with him, but he went 0 for 9 with 3 strikeouts in the series. Down 0-2. Misses up and away. A ball and 2 strikes on Phil Gosselin. Daniel Hudson continues warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. He'll get the top of the Braves order in the 8th inning. Markakis, Garcia, Freeman due up. Those are their 3 best hitters. Two and 2. Looking to pad this 2-run lead. Into the Braves dugout, or behind it, right behind it. Phil Gosselin, a 5th-round draft pick by the Atlanta Braves out of the University of Virginia in the draft back in 2010. Two and 2. Out of play. Check swing foul.
This Ogando has a high octane arm, I'll tell you. When he keeps that ball down there around the knees, it's got some late life in the mid to upper 90s. Hasn't really been able to command any of his secondary pitches close to the strike zone, but he can rush that fastball up there in a hurry.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming up. In the air, right center field. Alex Smith backs up shy of the warning track. Peralta will come on in. Everybody will move up. And the Diamondbacks pad their lead. It's 5-2. Great at bat there by Phil Gosselin. He really battled and made it a 3-run lead.
That ability to foul off a couple of tough pitches, get his timing down on that big-time fastball. Ends up getting the barrel on it. 5 runs for the D-backs. 3 crunchy beef tacos tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink.
And a great job by Castillo and especially Chris Owings to tag up on that ball, hit deep to right center. So second and third, 2 outs. A run is in. Here's Nick Ahmed, who drove in the game's first run with an RBI single in the second. He's 1 for 3. Nick's bat starting to come around again. Had a pair of singles and RBIs in Miami. An RBI base hit here tonight. One or one. .30 pitches here for Alexi Ogando. 18 strikes. Each team with 8 hits apiece now. 2-1. Nick Ahmed's a big guy. He's 6'2". Flowers is almost as tall as he is, kneeling down. A bouncer to third. Brignac. And that ends the inning, but the Diamondbacks get one. Bottom 8 on the way. Daniel Hudson coming in. Diamondbacks lead at 5-2. 5-2 lead as we start the home half of the 8th inning here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Fans, customize your own Diamondbacks ticket package with a D-backs mini plan. You can choose from big games, including the upcoming series against the New York Yankees. The Dodgers are in town in June. You can try All-American Weekend in July. Whatever you want, it's your plan. Join the evolution this year. Get your tickets now at dbacks.com. Tyler Clippard worked the 7th, and now Daniel Hudson is on to work the 8th inning. 12 2/3 innings in 12 appearances. 11 of those appearances have been scoreless. He has struck out 10 and given up just 3 hits.
.073 opponent's batting average against Daniel Hudson. And this is the formula we talked about earlier. Get that starting pitcher through 6. Tyler Clippard for the 7th, Hudson for the 8th, Ziegler for the 9th.
And Tyler Clippard got 2 strikeouts in his inning after a leadoff single by Ibar, but Huddy will have to navigate the 3 best Braves hitters in this lineup: Nick Markakis, Adonis Garcia, and Freddie Freeman, 1, 2, and 3 in the Atlanta 8th. Markakis singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 3. This is going to drop in for a base hit out in front of Brandon Drury. Markakis 2 for 4. Just a little punch and Junie duck snort out there and left.
It's the hit of the day for the Braves. We've seen Ibar go out there twice. Once on a line drive, once on a little floater, just like the one Markakis just hit.
Adonis Garcia singled his last time. Garcia became a bit of a cult hero here in Atlanta last year when he finally made it to the big leagues as a 30-year-old rookie. He's from Cuba. Played 58 games, hit 10 home runs. Had a few dramatic homers, and he quickly became a fan favorite given his background and story, a long road to the big leagues.
And the cool name.
Adonis.
Yeah.
That is cool. Originally signed by the Yankees. He had some good numbers in the Yankees minor league system. Hit about .320 at AAA Scranton a couple of years ago, but it was released last April. Braves picked him up, and he was in the big leagues by July. He sends this deep to center field. Chris Owings has room. 1 down.
Not tonight. Maybe under normal conditions that we're used to here in Atlanta, when it's hot and humid and the ball flies a lot better. But CO able to get back on that one easily and make the play.
That wind not gusting the way it was when he started the ball game, but it's still blowing pretty good out there in from left center field. Freddie Freeman. A single in the first, 1 for 3. Freeman red hot with that bat right now. He's hit safely in 9 of his last 10. Big swing and a miss and a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Freeman got off to a dreadfully slow start. He was hitting under 160 the first 2.5 weeks of the year, and everybody here was saying, what's wrong with Freddie? But he has really picked it up lately. Diamondbacks have the shift on. Tries to bunt away from it, but it's 0-2.
Thank you. You get one of the few guys in this lineup that's capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark, trying to bunt the ball. He'll take that any time in the 8th inning of a game.
Braves as a team this year have hit a total of 6 home runs. Freeman has half of them. The 0-2 from Daniel Hudson. This is up with 96, 1-2. base hit. It rolls down the right field line. Markakis will head for third. And they're on the corners for the Braves with one out. And the tying run will come up to the plate. It's Kelly Johnson.
Freeman has such a quick top hand. Really rolls the top hand over the bottom hand as he gets to the point of contact. Little hooking line drive down into that right field corner.
Kelly Johnson has singled and walked 1 for 2 tonight. He's the tying run with 1 down. The former Diamondback. Johnson, a D-back in 2009, 10, and part of 2011. Had a good season with Arizona 2010. Hit .284, 26 homers. That's still his career high. But was sent to Toronto the following August for Aaron Hill and John McDonald. Johnny Mack, the shortstop. Daniel behind 2 balls and no strikes.
Good change up on a 2-0 count.
Got some burglar.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly Johnson knows that Daniel Hudson can rush it up there in the upper 90s, so he gets his bat started a little bit early and way out in front of that changeup.
Three and one. Tyler Flowers is on deck, the catcher. Three and two, here it is. A bouncer over the mound, just what you're looking for. Ahmed for one, and they turn to Daniel Hudson. Get the double play he needed. We'll go to the ninth in Atlanta. Diamondbacks lead the Braves 5-2. And they lead at 5-2. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Game 2 of the 3-game set here tomorrow. It's a 4:10 first pitch. D-backs live pregame show comes your way at 3:30. And it's the former Brave Shelby Miller on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Julio Teheran, who is 0-3, will toe the slab, as they say, for these Bravos. And here's Gene Segura to lead off the Arizona Ninth. I am told, by the way, that Shelby Miller had a bullpen side session the other day with some of the coaches, and they were very, very happy. Segura rolls that into left center, a base hit for Gene. And the Major League's hits leader is on board for the second time tonight. They had a side session. They took a look at some things with Shelby's mechanics, and tremendous progress was made, so optimism is high here. Freddie Gonzalez going to go out and get Alexei Yagando. And he'll go to his bullpen. Diamondbacks looking to pad a 5-2 lead in the ninth.
Advantage of a lot of perks this season, including the ability to exchange unused tickets. If you can't make it to an upcoming game, you can exchange it for another game, even upgrade your ticket. Learn more about being a season ticket holder at dbacks.com/advantage.
You're right back on the horse.
That's right. Hey, that's a good deal, by the way. I mean, I've been a season ticket holder a number of times for years and years, different places, different teams, and you know, there's some games you just can't make it.
That's a great service.
Yeah.
New pitcher for the Braves. It's the left-hander Eric O'Flaherty in to face Jake Lamb. And here's a guy who did not get a loss in 3 seasons from 2012 through 2014. That's in over 100 appearances, but he's already lost twice this year. He's been scored on in 5 of his 14 outings. He's had a little trouble getting lefties out, and that's kind of his job. Lefties 5 for 19 against O'Flaherty so far this year. And Jake Lamb's ahead 1-0 with Gene Segura at first, nobody out. It's a big at bat for Jake. We've been hearing from Chip Hale all week long about not having Jake Lamb in the lineup consistently. Chip has been consistently asked about that, and he has given the same answer every time. He says that Jake's numbers against left-hand pitchers are not outstanding, and he has to swing the bat better against lefties. Those are Chip Hale's words, and they have talked to him about it. They want to see improvement, because they know that this lineup is not at its maximum offensive potential when Jake Lamb is not in there. They want him in there, but they want to see more against left-hand pitchers.
Well, we have seen some extended at-bats. He's taken some walks against lefties. Well, there's really something to be said for that guy that could go up there and force the opposing pitcher to throw 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 pitches, whether you retire you or not. We see the effect that Goldie has in the middle of this lineup, seeing 8, 10 pitches in an at bat, and the pitcher ends up making a mistake to the guy up next in the order.
Good at bat here. He's ahead 3-1. Jake Lamb this year against left-hand pitchers is only 3 for 16, but 2 of the 3 hits are homers. He has struck out in half of his at-bats against left-hand pitchers, and that I'm guessing is what Chip is talking about. 8 strikeouts and 16 ABs against lefties. But he's ahead here, 3-1. And he bounces a double play ball to Johnson. It goes through him. Segura will get into third, and Lamb is hustling into second. The Diamondbacks catch a big break there. Just a custom-made double play ball, and the Braves boot it. Second and third, nobody out.
Did Beyonce have a concert here recently? We have seen some nasty hops here tonight.
Yeah, that went right through him. Coming up at Kelly Johnson. And that's E4 on Johnson. Not the result that Jake was hoping for, the ground ball to second base, but it worked out. Second and third, no outs for Goldie. Trying to pad a 5-2 lead.
Oh, make this hurt.
Yeah. Infield has to come in a bit for Atlanta. Now they'll back off. 0-1. Two. As Chip Hale said all week, every time you look up, Paul Goldschmidt is hitting with 2 strikes. That's been a recurrent theme.
Well, he had 2 strikes on him back in that third inning, ended up drawing a base on ball, stole second base, and then scored on the Peralta hit.
It's like he's good at baseball or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Boy, that's got to drive O'Flaherty nuts. You know, he's had an okay start to the year, not great. Comes in to get the lefty, gets a nice little hopper right to the second baseman with a guy on first, and it goes right through him. It's been that kind of a year.
Then you get to face Goldie with 2 runners in scoring position.
Go get him. Well, he's on his way to a full count. It's 2-2. It is remarkable how often he does that. From 0-2 to 3-2, Paul Goldschmidt. Does it again. It's almost like you can see it coming. I mean, he's ahead in the count. He's even in the count. He just doesn't want to throw him anything to hit. Nobody has this year. Well, he's leading the major leagues in walks.
Yeah, he does have a base open down there at first, so it's certainly understandable. He's being very careful with Paul Goldschmidt here.
And he's got a lefty on deck in David Peralta. But Peralta's had 3 hits tonight, all singles, and RBI. He scored twice. Bouncer to Ibar at shortstop. Everybody freezes on the bases and they throw him out. 1 down. We've seen Jake Lamb against the lefty. Here's Peralta. David singled in the first, singled in the third, singled in the 8th. He scored twice.
You have to talk to some of the Braves people about the field, and has it been playing this way all season long?
You know what, it has. And in fact, Jody asked Chip Hale about that before the game. There have been complaints from several of the teams here about the quality of this field.
Well, since the Braves aren't going to be here next year, I would imagine that the day-to-day maintenance is probably suffering a little bit.
Some budget cuts. Yeah, they're building a new ballpark. They're not worried that much about this one, I guess. Some of the other teams have been upset. And the Diamondbacks are a little nervous about Chase Field. Chip has a picture he got from Grant Renbeth because they have the Kenny Chesney stage set up there. They have ASU graduation while we're gone, so they have some events at our ballpark. So we'll be interested to see what our field looks like when we get back from Colorado. We got a big stage set up out in the center field area for the concert coming up, I think tomorrow. 0-2.
I think it's only fair then that the Diamondbacks get to take batting practice on Kenny Chesney's stage with their cleats on.
Stepping on the wires and everything. Sure.
Right.
That's great. 0-2.
Let's see if hitting behind Goldie may have rubbed off a little bit on David. Falling behind 0-2. See if he can get himself back in this count.
He's hitting an even 200 against left-hand pitching this year, with a double, a triple, and a home run. Nope. 2 down. Wellington Castillo doubled this last time.
Not sure the reason for the celebration, but they just fired some fireworks off the top of that sign out there in right center field.
Oops.
Apparently they do it on strikeouts. That's only the 4th strikeout of the game, so I must have missed the first 3.
Well, they are doing Friday night fireworks here tonight, so maybe they're practicing. Get through there. There it goes. Segura scores. Here comes Jake Lamb. He will score. And the Diamondbacks take a 7-2 lead. Beef Wellington sneaks one right by Ibar at shortstop.
They just kind of smothered that ball, but hit it in a good spot. You can see where Ibar is positioned in the hole between third and short. That ball went right through a straightaway shortstop position, but Ibar wasn't there.
So the D-backs keep padding their lead. They got 1 in the 8th inning, now 2 in the 9th. And here's Drury, who homered in the 6th. His 6th of the year. Brignac at third. Nice scoop by Freddie Freeman. But the Diamondbacks get 2 more. Bottom 9 coming up. They lead the Braves 7-2. Turner Field. Each team with 10 hits. It's 7-2 Diamondbacks. Our Gila River game summary. D-backs at one point led it 4-0 after Brandon Drury's home run in the 6th inning. Braves made it a 4-2 ball game as they got 2 in the bottom of the 6th against Zach Greinke. But the Diamondbacks have padded their lead. 1 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. They lead at 7-2. Coors Light, cold hard facts. Brad Ziegler, not a save situation here, obviously. But he has recorded a club record 33 straights. That is the longest active streak in baseball. It's been a while for Brad. He's not pitched since Saturday against the Rockies.
Just a footnote on Zach Greinke's night. 6 strong innings, gave up 7 hits. 4 of those came in his last inning of work when both the runs scored. So he was just totally dominant through the first 5 innings of this game. Ran into a little trouble in the 6th, but managed to escape with only the 2-run scoring.
Tyler Flowers, the catcher, leads off the 9th against Brad Ziegler. There's strike 1. At one point in the ball game, Zach Greinke retired 9 in a row, and as part of that, 5 consecutive strikeouts. He finished the game with a walk and 8 strikeouts that tied a season high.
Well, if this stands up and Zach Greinke gets the victory tonight, it'd be his first win here at Turner Field right before they close it down.
Just in time. Yeah, just in time to stop this 6-game losing streak. Get things going again. And the remarkable thing about the National League West is it's just not been that good, frankly. I mean, the Diamondbacks 12-18 for their year coming into tonight, but they're only 3 back. So if you can take advantage of playing this Braves group here this weekend, get things turned around before you go to Colorado, where you know what you're going to have to deal with there. And considering the way things have gone the last 2 series, suddenly you're right back where you want to be. So if they can pick up some W's here over the weekend, that'll certainly help.
There's only one team in the National League West that has a winning record at home, and that's the Giants at 8-7.
Thanks. Dodgers lost in Toronto 5-2 at the Rogers Center. And the Rockies right now are, well, so much for that winning record in San Francisco. Giants are losing at AT&T Park to Colorado. It's early, 2nd inning, but they're lead at 4-0. There's the strikeout of Flowers, brings up Reed Briniak. We are back tomorrow, 3:30. Back home, the great state of Arizona. Diamondback Live pregame show. First pitch at 4:10. Former Brave Shelby Miller here against Julio Teheran, who was 0-3. Reed Briniak is 0-for-3. Sends it out to Drury. Brandon runs it down. Eric Ibar now. Diamondback Live postgame show follows our ball game. Reaction from Chip Hale, who I'm sure will breathe a deep sigh of relief. This 6-game losing streak is about to end. And that's coming up next with Jody Jackson. Ibar 2 for 3, a pair of singles. Both he just sort of looped over the shortstop and third baseman's head into left. Pitcher spot is up next. If Ibar reaches, it'll be the veteran Jeff Francoeur, who is back in Atlanta, where it all started for him as a 21-year-old rookie back in 05. It's like a reunion tour. They brought Kelly Johnson back. They brought Jeff Francoeur back.
But Jeff Francoeur was always fun to watch defensively. One of the best throwing arms in the game for years.
Won a Gold Glove playing the outfield in this ballpark. A strike away. Three and two. Brad was a nervous wreck last night on the flight because his beloved San Jose Sharks played like the longest game in the history of hockey. And he was trying to watch on his phone. He's a huge San Jose Sharks fan. And the funny thing was, it was in overtime when we took off, and when we landed, it was still in overtime.
My.
And it was like about a 90-minute flight. And as soon as that plane landed, man, he was glued to his phone. They're still playing. Reaches down and loops one out to Peralta. David makes the catch. The freight train finishes in style, and that 6-game losing streak is over. And so's the ball game. 7-2 your final. Zach Greinke pitched extremely well here. And Zach Greinke improves his record this year to 3-2. The D-backs stop the losing skid at 6. They take the opener of this 3-game series.
Yeah, some big 2-out base hits, some clutch hits with runners in scoring position. An outstanding start by Zach Greinke. What more could you want?
7-2 your final. Each team with 10 hits. Diamondbacks